because I really think what's going on with my back and my hip has something to do that I haven't been taking my collagen. So anyway,
it's the thing I probably take the least regularly.
but
You know,
it's the thing at
I
our
know.
age that we need the most.
I know.
And I just I cannot forget that collagen. Girl, we got to keep working. Our bodies have got to keep working.
I know.
We can't do this. We cannot
And-
forget to do stuff. Oh,
And you know, I don't think we're chasing our health because we've invested in our health for many, many years. But it's like I don't know if you heard me talk about it, but I told that guy who, wants a shopping account, I said, listen, silvers care about their health now more than ever because they're alive.
right.
They want
And
to continue living and they want to live well. We don't want to have aches and pains and hurt and be sick.
We have families, and we want to make sure that we're around to make memories and to leave them with memories and to invest and in their lives and be a part of their lives. And in some ways it's selfish for me, but in other ways it's very giving you literally, to take care of yourself is a gift to your family. It truly is.
True. But it's also,
gift.
God gave us our bodies and we are residents in it and we should take care of it. So they're on loan from God.
That's right. So collagen, we got to take our collagen.
I know.
We got to take our collagen every day. We got to be good girls and take our collagen every day for connective tissue.
My husband, I think because he is in a breakfast routine. He drinks a protein shake every morning. He dumps all the good stuff in there. And so he gets it. He gets it in his body every day, where I am not a regular breakfast eater. Yeah. So it just depends, honestly, what kind of snacks I had before I went to bed. I'm sometimes not hungry until like noon. Isn't that just crazy?
Well, but that goes along with that fasting thing.
It's not a bad thing.
No, having 12 hours. So if you eat your evening meal, or 16 hours. So if you, so they say really 16 hours for our age. So if you eat your evening meal at least by 8 o'clock at night, then you really, to get that 16 hours in, you're not to eat till noon the next day. And that 8 hours would be 12 to 8 every day. That is your eating time. And honestly, that's when I want to eat. I want to eat from that 12 to 8, and then I don't want to eat the next day till about 12. Now I want my coffee, and I take my fiber.
And I think my cream is sometimes just enough energy to get me through until when I do want to eat. So, it works for me. I don't know. It's craziness. But, I need to do better with the collagen. And, the collagen we take actually makes your body build collagen. You're not just getting externally. So we really need to be taking it on a regular basis.
Exactly. And that's why it's called Collagen Boost. Because not only are you getting collagen, but the formulation is boosting your body to make its own collagen, which is very good. You don't want to just be taking it. You want your body to be making collagen too. So, it's some things in what we do for our bodies as far as health, they're not really optional at this point anymore. They're mandatory.
They're not optional. That is exactly it. You're right. They're not optional.
It's like, it is not optional. In fact, I tell my clients sometimes that come in, that they got aches and pains and it's crazy.
By the time they're 40, they're feeling them.
Yeah, but most of my clients are 55 and older. It's so.
Well, then they're feeling them.
And they're obsessed over their eyelashes. But I'll tell them, I'll say, your organs aren't getting younger; they're getting older. You better do something about them aging organs.
They better talk to us.
You're so concerned about your eyelashes. You need to be concerned about your organs.
Well, and the collagen would help them grow eyelashes.
Yeah. And so then I talk to them about my shopping club, and I tell them that they've got to start shopping at my shopping club, and And then they want to know, well, what shopping club is that? And it's like, well, it's a shopping club I've been shopping at since 1989. And then it's like, well, what is that? And so, anyway, I thank the Lord for that collagen boost.
Oh, I know, for sure. Ooh.
All right,
I'm thankful for all of it. But anyway, all right. Well, I'm sitting here knitting. I have 4 more rows before I can start the step 4. So.
Your hair looks really pretty today. I'm so glad
thank you.
I'm so glad you're letting I love your natural color. It's beautiful on you. It's perfect. It's perfect for your skin tone.
Honestly.
And that's what God does. It's like, why do we keep trying to do something better than God? He had a reason for making our hair to start lightening up as we get older.
Well, the problem is I didn't know how it looked because I kept coloring it, and the only place I'd see a little gray was here.
Yeah.
I just, but man, when I was trying to dye my hair, that brassy color that would come out was just so awful. And it was to the point I didn't look good in any of my clothes. I didn't even know how to wear makeup anymore because everything looked wrong. My hair was fighting with my skin.
Right.
And
right. I think we need to
just
start this movement of like we've said, age well, but we need to start this movement of don't dye your hair.
Well, they have a movement. It's called. I know. Just be free, but
be free. Save money. Look, this is what you say. This is what you say. I do not dye my hair anymore because I spend all that money on yarn now. I don't dye my hair anymore. I was spending about $160 to $200 a month. Do you know how much yarn that buys now?
I know.
That is amazing.
I know.
It's like you think you can't afford to go buy good yarn? Stop dyeing your hair. You have loads of money to go buy yarn.
Yeah, I mean, people, when you go to get highlights,
and you're going to be more beautiful. You're going to be more beautiful.
I'm very pleased. I feel,
how many people stop you and ask you about your hair?
All the time.
Me too.
They ask me if it's natural, and I say yes.
Yeah,
and it's really wild.
And I'll have people to say, "How do you get your hair highlighted like that?" And I'll say, "It's natural. It's free."
I know. It's crazy.
It's free.
It's crazy, but I got to tell you, back to that collagen, that collagen, I think, is making my hair a little darker. So I'm getting even more, it's even prettier. I don't know what's going on. But here's what's so interesting.
Hey, it's a mixture of a lot of things. We have to take vitamin D. Vitamin D, low levels of vitamin D can cause premature graying. And most people are low in magnesium.
Almost all.
All people are low in magnesium. Yeah. So when you take the magnesium, that is needed to process the vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
And when your vitamin D is where it needs to be, it slows down the aging process. And when you take the collagen, you'll be able to move until you die.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
It's a whole circle of stuff.
I if anything, take it for your hands because you got to keep these fingers going, and you don't want pain. And I'm just so thankful I don't have any weird things. And you think about all of the connective tissue that is right here in our fingers. So listen. I honestly don't know what I would do if I couldn't knit or crochet. I am not a sitter. I can't sit and do nothing.
Me either.
Even watching TV, I can look at the TV for a little while, and unless it's a show where you just want to see every bit of it because of the type of show it is, the cinematography and whatnot, I don't sit and watch it. I listen. And I think, dear Lord, protect my eyes, protect my hands, because man, oh man.
And our brains.
Well, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Our brains, our eyes, and our hands.
I don't know what I would do. I really don't, because I just, I couldn't sit. I mean, even when I go visit people like at the hospital or whatever, if we have an extended visit, I whip out my knitting needles a lot of times. Well, really only with my father-in-law, but anyway. By the way, I have to tell you this story, which I think about our compliment. So my husband calls me the other day and he says, Linda, don't let me forget to tell you what the nurses said here at the rehab, which is where his father-in-law is. And I'm assuming he's going to be talking about what they said about his father. So he gets home and he's so excited and he says, do you know what those nurses said at the hospital? I still call it the hospital. Do you know what those nurses said at the hospital? They asked me, so that lady that comes to visit him, is that his wife or his daughter? I thought, wife? The man is 85 years old. And I looked at my husband. They asked if I was his wife. No, you don't understand. They said you were pretty. I'm like, oh, good cover, good cover. I mean, I thought, are you kidding me? If it was the other way around, I wouldn't even have told him this story. Unless I was mad at him, but it's like I couldn't believe it.
But most men, most older men like that, they will go after younger women. We're supposed to take them compliments any way they come.
Oh Lord. And
she was just thinking that he had robbed the cradle.
And then I kept saying to my husband, his wife? He's like, you've missed the point. And no, I'm getting the point. Oh my gosh.
You definitely do not look no 85 years old. They were thinking that he robbed the cradle. He
was a very lucky man. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that was a whole nother story. So, all right.
We need to get started. All right.
Yep.
Let's get started. You could say, hey, we're going to be talking about dark yarn and knitting today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about dark knitting. Okay.
We're going to talk about dark knitting today.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about dark knitting. You ready?
We're ready. And I said, you have just made my day. Hey there, my name is Susie, and we are so happy that you are joining us today. We want you to think of us as your friendly yarn circle where we chat about knitting and crocheting, and we share kitchen adventures, and we celebrate all the little joys of life together.
Yes, and my name is Linda, and we like to think of this as group therapy. We need you.
Yes,
and we're so happy that you're here joining us. We are so much enjoying all the comments and the involvement from the community. So if you have friends that don't know about us yet, please share. They won't know until you tell them so that we're here. And hopefully once they find us, they'll be really glad that they did. So anyway, so let's talk about this dark knitting. So really, it occurred to me as I'm knitting my hood, which we talked about last week, and also I then picked up my Advent, and that's also, look how dark. I'm in a dark purple.
You're in a dark stage of life.
I'm dark. Yes, exactly.
A dark stage.
But when you have dark stitches on the needle already, it's fairly easy to keep going. It's when you have to go pick them up and you're just kind of, getting into all this dark, it's really hard, which is why, if you really notice, people tend to not knit dark colors and black, though we love to wear them. It's just too hard. So we have our friend. Here's our friend.
Yes.
And actually, Susie's the one who told me about this, and I'm going to tell you, this this has been the most amazing thing, you guys, because you can be sitting and can you see how it's illuminating? And you just wrap it around and you just kind of point it where it needs to go. Now, y'all might have one of these already. I rarely use it, to be real honest. I've used it a few times when we've been driving at night because I'll knit because I don't want to look out the window. Don't get me started. But anyway, man, this project, and now even my Advent here, I have really, really needed it. And it is called Loomis, which means light. But it is an amazing thing. Now, Susie, are you able to show how it also stands up? No, you probably can't. But it'll stand, so you can actually put it on a table next to you as well. Now, I'm not going to be able to make it stand here because I'm not going to be able to do it. But it does.
It'll sit right on the table. And
it will.
You know what's really neat about these is the charge lasts forever. And
forever. I've only done it.
And it charges really quick. That's what's really neat about it. And then the other thing is it has several different
I know. It has
has several different light settings.
We're sitting here playing with our lights.
I know.
Yeah, warm, cool, and both, I think is what it is.
Which is more like natural light. You have fluorescent, incandescent, and natural. And,
is that what it is?
Yeah, and also if you hold the little button on it and don't move, like push down on the button and not move, it'll dim it. It'll take and dim it.
I didn't know that, although I need it bright anyway.
So
I'll tell you.
It is a wonderful. It just fits into your knit bag so easy. It's just
it's so great. And I know there's probably a lot of different kinds, but I do like the feature of how it can also stand on the table, and I've used that before. Sometimes when we watch certain shows, my husband doesn't want the glare of the lamp in the screen, so I'll use this and I'll just point it down at what I'm doing. But
I like using mine in the car, and I love using it like when we turn the light off to watch TV. Then I feel like I can still see the knit. So
I know. So as we get on to our projects, and you're already there, we're going to have to do a lot of picking up of stitches to make that I-cord, and I'm going to be using that light like crazy.
Yeah.
So that's there's our dark knitting. The dark knitting is you don't have to knit in the dark. You can get one of these cool lights. But that makes it also like maybe I will feel more brave to knit darker things because we all kind of like some darker things. But we tend to not knit them.
The whole issue is not having light. That's what makes the issue. And as long as you've got very good light, then you see those stitches and you don't have a problem.
Right.
So that works.
Yeah. So anyway, that's exciting. So what's going on? What's your work in progress first? Do you have work in progress?
Well, I'm still, I'm not even going to show it, but we talked about it last week. The baby blanket, I put it aside because I was obsessed with getting this hood finished.
Right.
And it's not quite finished, but it's almost. And then I didn't work on my Advent. I really wanted to put 6 squares together. Didn't do that. But I will be working on that this week, hopefully, because I'm getting this hood finished. Linda, I am in love with this hood. I can see me making a lot of them for myself, different designs of them. I am in love because I do not like wearing those tight hats on my head.
Yep.
And it was like, the only option would be to pull a scarf up over your head, when you have a scarf wrapped around. But I am in love. I am in love with this hood. Look at you. So here's the tails of it.
Oh, wow. Yep. Which becomes the scarf, the wraparound part, right?
And so, last week I was saying that I thought, because this is where we start.
We had the big debate. Right, the square.
And I was saying I think this is at the back of the head. But as I knitted, it was and of course I looked at the pictures, and on the picture, the designer, this is on the top of her head. And so as I looked at the pictures, then it
I
became
see
very
the shape.
evident that is the way it was. So any of you that may have knitted this already, last week you were sitting there saying, Susie, Linda's right. No, Linda's right, Susie.
I had no idea.
You know, you're right. And I'm thinking, no, it goes at the back of the head. Linda saying, well, we'll find out.
It made sense.
I'm thinking once it blocks, what I don't like about the little points at those seams, I'm sure will block out.
Right.
But
I'm sure.
Look how beautiful this is. It is just, I am in love with it.
Well,
this.
So you know what? I don't want to do the ties. I don't want to do the ties.
Well, we talked about that, and I said the same thing. But when you wrap this around, and that might be why the designer put the ties on there.
That's not going to be long enough.
Around, it's not long enough. So you need those I cords here to pull and tie it here up close around your neck, and then that will secure what's around your neck. This is so loose that it'll just drop back. Isn't that beautiful?
It's so pretty.
I am in love. I am in love with this. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And then I'll tell you another thing. So your needles, as you're knitting this, your needles, here's the top. This is where you started.
Right.
This is where you're knitting down, and your needles end up being here. This is where your needles are. And so when you get through the fourth section, then you do that purl bind off I cord, and it's on this. This is where your needles are. So this is where you're binding the bind off. Look how pretty that is. It's a beautiful.
Oh yeah, I love an I cord edge. I think they're beautiful.
It is a beautiful I cord edge, but
you did really good job.
The front of the hood does not have that pretty.
Yeah, but don't we go pick it up?
Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to knit.
I'm going to need the light, that's why.
Right, so you're going to be knitting a certain length I cord. You're going to start off with an I cord. And then the I cord, you're going to start picking up stitches on this side. And you're going to be doing an I cord edging all the way around the front of the hood. So you're going all the way around
that'll
the
be
front of the
nice.
hood
Did you already do all that? Are you done?
Oh no, I've still got to do the I cord edging on the front. So this is this is the front of your hood. This is the front.
Okay.
This side is where that you've done your bind off with your I cord. So what you got to do is you've got to go back over, and you're going to start knitting an I cord. And that I cord then is going to attach, and you're going to be doing that I cord and creating an I cord all the way around the front of the hood. Okay. It's going to go all the way around the front.
That'll finish it off really nice.
That finishes the front of your hood off good, and when you get down here to the corner, you'll continue to knit the same length I cord that you started with on the other side. And that's your ties. Once you wrap it around your neck, those tips stop about right here, wrapped around your neck, but they pull forward with the I cord, and you'll be able to tie and secure the scarf around your neck.
Got it.
And one of the things that may be a little confusing, once you get through that fourth stage, and they tell you, because you end, you're going to end, you're going to have 2 of those cast on stitches, and or they get you to, they're going to get you to cast on 2 stitches, because what you're doing is you're setting up to start doing that I cord, and you're doing it on the right side of the hood. You start that I cord on the right side of the hood, and you're doing it though in purl. You're doing a purl I cord bind off.
Okay.
And so you're going to cast on 2 stitches like you've been doing in the increases. And they tell you to knit the first cast on stitch, but don't take it off of the left needle. What you're going to do is pull out and twist, and then put it back on your needle. And so that could be a little confusing to start in that I cord, and you do that twice. You're going to knit, and not pull it off the end and twist and put it back on top of the needle.
Okay.
But anyway, just look for that and make sure that when you finish section 4 and you've done your cast on side, which is on the wrong side, and you've gone and knitted the next row, which is row 2, you're going to go back and you're going to knit another cast on side without casting on. You're just going to knit. So there'll be 2 knit rows, and then that sets you up on the right side of the hood to start doing the purl I-cord bind off. But I noticed that when I went and read people's notes, sometimes they were a little confused about the pattern, and so that's why I kind of told you a little bit, just kind of give you a heads up on some of this stuff that you're going to see in the pattern. And of course, there's so much to the pattern. There's no way you can figure it out with what we've said.
Right.
So we're go by the pattern, but just trying to give a little bit of insight to things that you're going to be seeing. But it is a great knit. It's a great knit. It's fun. It's comfort. It is. And it's going to be, I believe it's going to be one of my favorite pieces to wear. I am going to love it.
And I did read through the pattern and knew about that I-cord finishing edge. And if they weren't going to do that, I would have slipped that first knit stitch to make a really nice edge. But I knew that, because it's a little bumpy, but it won't matter because you're going to finish it off. So that's really nice.
With a beautiful I-cord. And so
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you'd probably like to knit it for other people, and of course doing other sizes and even other weights of yarn. One of our subscribers, Elizabeth, she actually, while I was getting ready for today's episode, she commented on our hood and said that Knitty McPurley has a free resource on her website. She calls it the Gauge Switcheroo Worksheet. And I am going to love that worksheet.
Yes.
And so if you want to use a different weight pattern, a different weight yarn than the pattern calls for, you can just use that worksheet.
I love watching Knitty McPurley. She's got a wonderful YouTube channel.
So I can see that you're probably going to be knitting some for your granddaughters.
Oh, I just love them.
And I would like to make one for mine as well, because I think she'd really enjoy that.
It is just... I'm thrilled that it's kind of the new craze for
I know,
for covering our heads in the wintertime.
Yeah. Well, and the neat thing is it is somewhat a one size fits all. So once you kind of get a certain size for like toddlers, it should fit all the toddlers in your life, because the only thing is this might be a little bigger, but it won't matter because it ends up just wrapping around and creating that scarf. So that's fun.
Well, and a lot of that could just be going down in weight of yarn and size of needle. It would definitely take it down smaller, if you wanted.
That's true.
I mean, if you wanted to not really think about a lot of that, it would just be going down to a lighter weight yarn and going down in needle size, which of course is going to make your gauge smaller, which is going to make the project smaller too automatically. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But just knit a hood. You're going to love it, girl. You're going to love it. Knit a hood. You're going to love it.
Oh, man.
Love it.
How fun. So we get so many cool comments from our subscribers, and they tell us what they are knitting or crocheting. So we have decided to start sharing their finished projects with you as well. So we have 3 here to show you, and we will tell you when this is all done and how you can submit your projects for us to share with the community. you'd like to submit your projects that we can show here, go to contactyarnoverwithus@gmail.com. And again, that's contactyarnoverwithus@gmail.com. We will put that down in the description. But what we need from you is a picture taken vertically this way, because it's going to fill up the screen. And we would like to see you in it if that's possible, but if not, I understand. And if you could include the pattern name and the yarn you used. And if you use stash yarn, just say stash yarn. We'd love to show your projects because you're telling us about them on the community, on the episode comments. And I'm like, I want to see them. And I'm sure everybody wants to see them. So anyway, share with us.
And a big thank you especially to Maureen and to Betty and to Tammy, because y'all got us started off with your projects, and they're beautiful. And I love that we're going to be doing this, Linda, because
I know.
You know, when we talk about our projects, we've got this whole group of friends out there that are doing the same thing that we're doing.
I know.
That's
why I want to see them.
And we want to see them, and we want everybody else to see what you're doing. So I am thrilled that this is going to be a part of our weekly episodes that we get to show what y'all are doing. And we're always looking for ideas, you know, things to knit and do as gifts and for ourselves. And so I'm
It'll be
this.
so much more fun. And, you know, there's just no way to share photos on YouTube. So... you know, underneath the comments section. So I think this is going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, but just know we want wearables. So we're going to do wearables and blankets for now, because we're going to stick to wearables and blankets. So send us your socks and sweaters, and you'll inspire us. And then we'll be upset that we don't have more time to knit, because I already don't have enough time to knit. Speaking of inspiration, thank you so much for sending me that video.
Yes, of course, you know, I love watching knitting YouTube and crocheting channels, and so I'm always watching them. In fact, it's almost all I watch on TV now, because it entertains me so much while I'm knitting, you know, and I can only watch our show so much. I'm tired of that. I got to go somewhere else. And so... I had watched this gal for her Vlogmas and really enjoyed her, and I got a notification that she had a new episode up, so I thought, oh, let me see what that's all about. And so I clicked over there, and it let me make sure I'm telling you this right. So the name of her YouTube channel is For the Fun of Knit. That's the name of the YouTube channel. And the episode that I'm going to be talking about is her most recent one, and it's called Knitting Inspirations.
I'm going to watch it again.
Knitting Inspirations. And so what she did is she has a yarn circle that evidently that they must meet very regular, and they do a lot of sweater knitting. It just blew my mind, all the sweater knitting that the girls
felt like such a
done.
Slacker.
Oh, me too, because I really don't, but you know, where we live, we don't really need a lot of sweaters.
I know.
If we do, it's a cardigan that we can layer stuff on and take off, because we get hot. But it was, so what she did is she put together an episode where that they're showing all the sweaters that they knitted, each one of them knitted in 2024, and it was a fashion show, and she put together the neatest music, and the girls were very uninhibited. They got in front of the cameras, they modeled, they showed their sweaters, and the girls are, you know, have different body shapes, which can be challenging when you're calling me, Linda. Hey.
My computer restarted.
Okay, you're frozen. I you know what? I was just talking and I saw my phone ring and I said, "You're calling me, Linda," and then I noticed you're frozen.
Is the studio still open?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking and I see me on the computer.
open.
Yeah, and you're gone, and so I'm
If
still.
you're in a problem, it needs to restart.
Okay, you're back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. And her new episode, it's the current episode that I'm talking about, is called Knitting Inspirations. And it's only 20 minutes long, but it was so entertaining. In fact, as soon as I got through watching it, I sent it to you immediately. I said, you've got to watch this. And so what she's done is she has created a fashion show with her knit circle, and she is or her yarn circle, and she is showing you all of the sweaters that they knitted in 2024, which
so
blew my mind. I could not.
There were a lot.
How many sweaters
There were a
girls
lot
knitted? There was a lot, and she
I know.
put them. I mean, there were so many that I think she had to like have either 3 or 4 full songs while they modeled them, and they were the cutest. They were uninhibited. They just got in front of the camera and showed off their
very
sweaters.
fun. So fun.
And I want to watch it again because
Me
this
too.
time I want to take notes because
Yes.
some of those sweaters.
There were a
it's
couple I'd like to knit.
Oh, yeah, me too. So head over there, y'all. And,
Yes.
And check out that episode. You are going to get some great ideas for sweater knitting for 2025.
Well, and she
And
called the
thanks for that
episode.
episode.
Yeah, I think she called it Knitting Inspirations, and I was
Yes.
very inspired. But
I
you know
was
what?
too.
I thought the yarns that they chose were beautiful, and in some
Beautiful.
cases, their projects were even prettier than
Yes,
the originals.
They were. And I
and-
also noticed that some of them
Yeah.
actually did some altering to the
Modifications,
patterns. I
yeah.
did some
Yeah.
modifications, and
Yeah.
and
They're
they were
very
just
good knitters.
absolutely- Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And you know what I loved? I loved that their sweaters fit them. I mean, that is one thing. I think that is a pet peeve of mine, is that when I see somebody put on a knitted sweater, and it never bothers me if it's too big. It bothers me if it's too little. And why does that bother me? It shouldn't bother me how somebody else's sweater fits, but it's like, do you not know that sweater is too little for you?
Well, they're probably wearing it because they knit it, but that's the same issue with sewing, and why people quit sewing normally is because they go sew something, it doesn't fit them, and they're just so discouraged they don't even try to sew again.
I
So
know, and especially as we
know.
get older, we have passed the age, most of us, not all of us, but we have passed the age that we can wear tight stuff. Because if we do, we see a little roll here and a little roll there.
I know.
And it's like, that sweater needs some more positive ease. Now, next time you knit that, you put in some positive ease.
Oh, I know.
It's like, why? Why? You definitely don't need negative ease. You need positive
Yeah.
ease. And
Yeah.
you probably need about 6 to 8 inches. You know,
Well-
so it's drapey. But anyway, the bottom line is these girls, their sweaters fit.
They're beautiful.
They
They
did a
did.
beautiful job on their sweaters.
Yeah.
And go watch that 20 minutes. It's
I know.
worth it.
I
20
would like to
minutes.
watch it again. I would like to watch it again. It was really nice, and they really mentioned some really pretty yarns that I've never like
They
heard of,
did.
seen. Of course, there's a lot of yarns I've never seen or heard of, but yeah, it was inspiring, and it was very fun. So
It was
I hope she
fun.
does it again at the end of this
Oh,
year. I'm
yes.
sure she will.
Yeah.
So
It
yeah,
was-
that was
it
a
was
fun
really
channel.
good. That
But
was
now I just
fun.
want to watch everything on her channel. Really.
I know she did. If you go back and watch her Advent, she did a TOFT, TOFT, and that is crocheting. That company does a lot of crocheting things, and they had an Advent where you did a mystery project, and you open up a little box that has like little things that you're going to crochet, and what you're doing is all month long you're making something in crochet and you'll put it together. And so that was one of the things that she did. And the other thing she did was she created a Christmas tree garland, which was darling.
Oh.
She knitted all kinds of different little Christmas trees and used I guess mainly scrap yarns, and just did different designs of little Christmas trees, and it made a beautiful little Christmas tree garland.
Yeah, there was one sweater. I mean, when you see it, you'll know which one it is. But the stripes went kind of in a swirl down.
I know. It was beautiful.
That one was interesting, and that needs to be saved in my Advent folder.
Yes, because
possibility.
That could be an Advent sweater.
I
That's
think
true.
so, and I thought, wow, that one's kind of cool, and those lines are just very flattering to people as a rule. So
Yeah, they are.
yeah, I was just very impressed. I mean, I just was, and my husband, he watched it with me, and it's really funny because since we started this channel, though I've been knitting for quite some time, he's now really he pays attention to like the details, like he knows weights of yarn, what they mean now. And he looked at these ladies' sweaters and he said, man, knitting is really like a serious thing. I'm like, yeah, it's a very serious thing, And he was so impressed.
And you know what's so funny to me is that our husbands love watching our channel.
It's because they like us.
We sat down to watch TV the other night. We had, fixed our plates and sitting down. And I walk in. He was already sitting in the den. And I walked in. And he had our YouTube channel up. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm behind a couple of episodes. He said, I want to watch your YouTube channel. And so he started
That's
one
funny.
that came out like weeks ago. And I said, well, that's not the current one. He said, I'm that far behind? I said, yeah. I said, why don't you just watch the current one? And so he said, okay. And we've been watching it for about 45 minutes. And so it was, probably about 30 minutes. We were about halfway through. And he got up to, he headed to the bedroom. He needed to go to the bedroom anyway. I said, honey, you are not totally bored with this? I said, we watch something different. He said, no, I love it. He said, no, I'm not bored, not one bit.
So funny.
And I'm thinking,
that's hilarious.
You are watching a knitting YouTube channel and you are not bored.
Well, I'm pretty sure our men watch it because we're on there, but we do have people who don't knit or crochet watching, and I think they just like the girl talk. It was really cute. She's actually my friend Donna. She wrote something about it's like watching a talk show but more fun, and she watched us for 6 hours one day. She was so far behind. She watched for 6 hours. I'm like, I can't.
My gracious.
Anyway, that's really sweet.
That's
but
pretty
she does.
Awesome. That's
she
pretty
actually,
awesome.
I know she does actually crochet, but she's kind of put it aside because she refurbishes and paints furniture. So she goes and buys old pieces and then she fixes them real pretty and sells them at a booth at an antique mall. So she's been kind of doing that, but she's kind of decided that, and she's met some of my yarn circle and she's like, you people are fun. I'm going to start crocheting. So now she wants to come to the yarn circle. So I'm really excited.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Hey,
so anyway.
Look, Linda, while we're talking about
there's another one.
This is another one of those things that
I like
friend
that
made.
one.
It is. I'm going to take it off so you can see it.
I need to meet this friend.
Isn't this pretty? Look at this.
That is pretty. I love that big
shell.
shell.
All it is a band that she knitted. It probably is a 6 or 8 stitch cast on. And she knit, and then she gets down here and she finds these pretty things, attached it, and she attached the yarn. I can see it right here.
It's a scarf, and then she attaches it.
She's just put tassels on it.
I love it.
And it makes the most prettiest piece of jewelry.
It does.
I love it.
And yeah, especially for people with metal sensitivities. I can't wear a lot of necklaces because they irritate me.
My mom always loved something a little warm around her neck. And so this was that day I bought the other one for my mama for her birthday, and then she turned around and bought this one for herself because she wanted both of them. And so
Is that how you got them both?
That's how I got them both. Yes, and I requested them, and she had them bagged up. she had them put in some little Ziploc bags and had them in her drawer, and yeah, so another piece of my mama. I just love it.
Aww.
I love it that I can put on pieces of her. See, that's why casket knitting is so important. It's so
I know
important
that it is.
casket knitting.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have this
heirlooms.
draped on the casket, and somebody will get it and they'll say, "Oh, I love that. It makes me think of Susie," but it made me think of my mama.
I know.
So,
Because our stuff will all be gone. We had 2 glasses that we got when we were dating, and they're these big glasses from Hard Rock Cafe, I think it was, and my husband broke one. He said, and then later he said, "I feel so bad." He said, "But he said probably these glasses would end up on a Goodwill table one day." And I said, "Yeah, the next 15 to 20 years probably." But you know what? The stuff we knit will be cherished. I hope.
My sister, I don't know if I've told this or not, but my sister, she, for a short time, lived in Florida. I can't even remember the town that it was there. And she told me, she said, "Susie," she said, "I drove by a thrift store," and she said, "You will never believe what the name of it was." And I said, "Well, what was it?" She said, "It was called Dead People's Things." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, the name of it was called Dead People's Things." And of course he hauled over and all of that. And I said, "But Sherry, that is so true." I said, "When people pass away, their family don't want all that stuff in their house."
I know. We talk about this a lot. It's so true.
They box it up and they take it to a thrift store. So I guess they said, "Well, that's what comes. We'll just call it that, Dead People's Things."
Well,
but anyway.
It's probably quite a popular store, actually.
Yeah.
But how wild! So, anything else? What you got going on in your kitchen?
Well, last night I made some homemade chicken noodle soup that was delicious, and I know that to be true because about 3 hours later, my husband comes into where I was sitting, and he said, "Susie," he said, "that soup was delicious." He said, "Thank you so much for making that." And I thought, chicken noodle soup? So, we talked about our website, and so once that's up and going, we'll put the chicken noodle soup recipe there.
I know. And I have to share my chili recipe because honestly, it's the best chili. And there's just there's 2 little things I do different than most people, but it is so good. It is so good. And I made it this morning. It's in the crock pot. My house smells so good. I'll be salivating for another couple hours till my husband gets home and we have dinner, but it smells good. But yeah, chili. We make chili about once every 10 days.
And I've made muffins and I've made bread and
I made my bread.
I cook most days if I can because it's just so much more healthy for us.
I know. I really struggle eating out, and we don't live in an area with a lot of restaurants that aren't chain restaurants.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, do you want to go out? Because he likes the luxury of I don't know what it is.
Loves that
Men
too.
love to eat out. I'm not sure why exactly. I don't know. At least my husband does.
Well, I think my husband just loves it because I'm sitting at the table with him and I'm not running here and there or whatever, and we literally get to eat. Somebody serves us and we get to
the serving.
Communicate and talk and all of that.
Yeah.
And so for that it's wonderful, but for my body, I
have a hard time.
I find myself gaining weight. The food in the restaurants, they literally make me fat.
Yeah, they do.
They
do by design.
Restaurant food. I don't want, and I think they do that on purpose. Most of the stuff is bagged, jarred, canned, and full of preservatives and all of that. So learning to love your kitchen is like loving yourself. When you love your kitchen, you are loving yourself. You really are.
Yeah.
And another thing I find is that I don't eat as much food when I eat at home because, when you pay all that money for the food that you're getting,
well, and the portions are huge.
They're
the
huge.
portions are huge. Honestly, most people could split every meal you get out in America. When I went to Quebec, they sat a plate down of food. I literally just looked at it. I was
thought, that ain't enough
that's
food.
it? I mean, it was so little, but then I
when
looked
you
around
ate
me
it,
and everybody was trim.
Exactly. And, I think buffets have just about killed us, which they're not as
They
popular.
still have, I was going to say, yeah.
They're not as popular.
They can't
as
afford
used
them
to
anymore.
be, but I'm telling you,
It's not good.
We are supposed to eat small portions, and we're supposed to think about eating foods that are real food, that don't have, and dear Lord, don't even get.
But you are right. We eat more when we go out.
We do. We eat more food because we're paying so much for it. Truly, you will not believe this. There is a little place here in Huntsville that we like to go eat at. It's like the best of like fast food places around here, but it's not like a popular chain. In fact, I only think they have a few. It's called well, I'm not going to say. Anyway, it's a place because I don't want to talk ugly about anybody, but we went there.
Oops.
And we went there to eat, and I love eating there because it's like the healthier of the bad. And so if I'm going to go out, I want to go there. And Linda, me and Tim, we got a chicken sandwich there. It's not Chick-fil-A, so don't everybody think I'm talking about Chick-fil-A. This is another little local franchise place. But we got a chicken sandwich and an order of onion rings and a beverage. We each got that. Our bill was $35.
Oh, I was going to say it's probably $38. That seems to be the average. $38 is what we're finding. I know.
What? It's like, what? And then, oh, Lord, don't get me started on this. Then they turn the screen around and they say, there's just a question there for you. Now, I have walked in and I have gone to a counter and I have ordered my food. They've taken it from behind the counter. I get a number. I have to go up and get my food, fix my food at the fixins bar, take my food to the table, get up to go get my refills, clean my table off.
Yeah, you weren't served.
And the question that they want me to answer is to give them a tip. And it's oh, what am I tipping?
Yeah, what are you tipping for? Yeah.
Well, I want to say, do you make $2.60 an hour? Because that's what a waitress makes. And she takes my order, and she takes my order to the kitchen, and she brings my order to the table, and she fills up my beverages, and she takes dirty plates off my table, and I get up and leave a dirty table, and it's cleaned up for me. I tip for that, and we tip well. But when I approach a register, and
we're tipping because we talk to them.
And I'm so, oh man.
I know.
It's like, I just don't, I mean, pretty soon people are going to be going to Burger King and McDonald's and they're going to say,
they will.
There's a question you need to ask. And it's like,
coming.
What? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, sorry I got off on that rant.
I know.
Like
well,
the cost and the tipping and all of that that's going on, it's like, love your kitchen. Go
love your kitchen.
I just love your kitchen and love yourself. Love your kitchen and love yourself.
Oh, I tell you. I
just
love my kitchen. I said in another episode, I don't enjoy cooking. And really what I meant by that is like, I don't cook for a hobby or sport. But when I'm cooking, I enjoy it. But it is a bit of a means to an end of sorts. But, I mean, it's not like I, begrudge having to cook. So, but I'm not one of these cooking show people, but I love my kitchen. It is so,
I love it's truly the heart of the home.
It is. And it's
the heart of the
laid
home.
Out. And
I'll tell you, when I was younger, I used to say I hated cooking. But what I found out, the reason that I didn't like cooking when I first got married is because I didn't have all the tools of the trade. I mean, that would be like me having, if I had a lawn business and I didn't have a riding lawnmower and I didn't have a trimmer and an edger
Sure.
and a
Yeah.
weed eater and all of
Sure.
that, I
Sure.
would hate doing my lawn business because I
Right.
didn't have all the tools of the trade. So for a kitchen, you've got to have the tools of the trade. You've got to have good knives. You've got to have
Yeah.
little things like a garlic press, or you've got to have, you know, a chopper, or you've got to have a springform pan, or you need an Instapot, or you need
See,
a
I
crock
think-
pot.
I think
know-
in a kitchen, the most important thing is workspace.
Well, you need that too.
I mean, I need, because I am not a gadget person. Just give me good knives and I'm good to go. I'll chop, do whatever. But you got to have a place to chop. You know, you have to have
You
a place
do.
to put it. And Danny, he said to me one time, he said, I can't believe you functioned in that little kitchen we used to have. I said, I know. I mean, raised 3 kids, did all the things. I used to make cheese and, you know, I used to do all.
But you made
I somehow
your
did
place.
it.
You know,
I did, yeah.
Whether your
I had
kitchen
to.
is big or your kitchen is small, because I've got a small kitchen.
Give
and I
yourself workspace.
Yeah, you have to make sure you don't fill up the little counters that you do have with a lot of stuff. Keep
That's
those
right.
counters so that you have a workspace. And yeah, you've got to have good cutting boards and. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I guess I am a gadget person to a certain extent, but I have the gadgets that make my life easier, you know.
I forget about them. If I get all these little things, because I'm so used to just, you know, little gadgets. I'm not talking about, you know, appliances. I forget about them. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. I've got a frother. You know, I don't even remember I have the thing, you know, because I don't use it. But, yeah, good knives are huge.
That's a huge thing, or good knives. You gotta
It's
have
so
good
weird.
knives.
There was a company years ago. I know somebody will remember it and tell me what it was, but they literally go door to door and sell knives. They were Cutco.
Cutco, yeah.
Very, very expensive, but oh my gosh, those knives are amazing. That bread knife, I probably 20 years ago spent like, you know, almost $200. No, it was probably about $80, which was like $200 back then. The thing is still so sharp. I use it for tomatoes and bread. I can cut the thinnest little tomatoes with it because it's just so sharp. And it's, you know, this long. It's a bread
Yeah.
knife, and I just love it. And I'm like, yeah, good knives are
Good
so
knives
important.
for your kitchen. They're so important. They're so
They are
important.
indeed,
And if you
but-
don't have an Instapot, get an Instapot.
3.
Oh, I have 2.
I inherited one, but yeah, I have 3, and I'm not
they
sure
are
why I
the
have
most
3.
Amazing things.
Oh, I'm using it now.
I bought Luke, my son Luke. He's our youngest of our 3 children, and I have bought Tebow and Colleen, our son and daughter-in-law. Bought them 1 year ago. Bought Ben and Mary Catherine, my daughter and her husband, 1 year ago. And this year for Christmas, Lucas is finally in his own place, and for Christmas, I had delivered to him an Instapot, and he was thrilled to death to get it.
Oh, I'm telling
they have
you.
learned the value of an Instapot in your kitchen.
Oh, there is times when I would use mine 2 and 3 times in a day. I'd use it for breakfast, then I would do something, you know, in the middle of the day for whatever, and then I'd make dinner in it. But now I could have multiple pots. But I originally bought that crazy Instapot to peel my fresh eggs. And that was the original reason I bought it. Worked like a charm. And then, of course, I found out all the many other benefits. And so, yeah, I love my Instapot. That is one of my favorite. It really gets used almost every day in the winter. You know, I do
Oh,
so much
yes.
cooking in there.
It's
So,
so
it's got
wonderful.
chili in there right now. So anyway.
Good old Instapots.
I know, it's a great investment. And then I bought one when we lived in our camper with the air fryer lid. So you can make it the Instapot, you know, and then, or you can put the different lid on it, and it had an air fryer. I used it a lot. I used it.
Wow. I don't
Yeah,
have that,
so-
but that sounds like
Yeah,
that would be fun to have.
it's neat. And then when my mother-in-law passed away, I'd given her one for Christmas. I'm not sure that she ever got the hang of it, but I took it. I was like, I'm not letting that stay at the estate sale. They'll get $3 for it. And I'm like, no, it's coming home with me. So I have another one. But yeah, they're great. This is not sponsored by Instapot.
No, it's not. We just we
love
it.
We share what we love.
Loving our kitchen.
Well, all righty. I think we can probably wrap this up. But I do want to remind you guys, please send your garments or blankets that you've finished, that you've been, talking to us on the community page about. And we'd love to see what you're up to. And we're going to show them. And I think that'll be really fun to share with each other. So anyway, anything else, Susie?
All hearts and minds are clear.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.